Hello, sir. So this is my fourth practical work of this semester. I chose the library management system case. We have the correct options to manage each class and the select queries. I made 4 of them. We can access them through here, or I already did that in here. So let's try to add a new author here with 3 for ID member, ID author I mean, and the last name and first name, nationality, and we need to choose a date of birth. First, before we add the author, we check the Excel file. In the authors list, we only have 2 of them. Now we're gonna add the third one. We press on add. Author added successfully, and here it is. We can update the date and we click on update. Author updated successfully, and we can see that it just got edited here. Now we can delete it, and it's not here anymore. We tried the same thing for every one of these. And we get a new one. We can change, and you can also delete it, and then add a new one here. We check the Excel file, the book table, the book sheet, and here's the third updated book. The same thing happens in the member page and the loan page. And here we can find the one that we just added. And we can also delete it. Here's a loan. We enter the member ID and the book ID, and we get a new one. And we can also, of course, change this, and we update it. Now we can see the code here. This is the main page, which is pretty simple. And then we have the author PHP, we have the class of the database. Here we have all the functions needed to open the connection with Odbc Connect and close it and anything else. We have also the function to add a record using the insert into function to the table name. And we choose the columns, and then we enter the values for each column to insert a new line into it. And then we execute it with the Odbc execute function, and we get a success or an error message. Here we have the update record function, where I use the logical delete function first, and then we get to update it, and then set the updates where each column with each new value that we need to enter. And then we get the error or success messages. This is the logical delete function, where we just update all fields into a blank space. And this is how we change it here. This function is for the fetch all, which we use for the display tables. We use the select from table name, and we enter the table name later on when we call this function, and then we can fetch the records and display it in the table. That's all for the class of database. Now for the class of author, we get a public function to add the author. We have the columns needed and the values, and then we can add the record using that function that we already have in the class of database. Same thing for updating, and then we call the update record function, and deleting we call the logical delete option because the delete from function does not apply or is not compatible with my softwares. So that's why I use this to make it all blank instead of just deleting it. This is the database name that we called earlier on, and here we just um, we post. This is where we post the things that we entered in the form entries, so we can so we can work with them in the add author or update author or delete author functions. And this is just the HTML code, which is really simple, just a normal form where we enter these, and the ID of author is a read only. We can't change it really because we can only choose it when we add a new one, not when we display it or update it. Here it is required here not just a read only because here we are adding a new author, unlike in the table where we can just update them or delete them. Book PHP, member, and loan are all the same, just using new data and different information in them and different data types. This is the class of database, which is the same, and class of book where we just have the columns and values, and then we have to add a record, update it, logical delete it, and get all books to fetch them and display them in the table. Here we use the forms to post with the post method, and we can add and update and delete and also display. I did the same thing here for the members and for the loans. Here are the 4 functions, the CRUD options, operations, and the forms, and then calling the functions needed. And this is the display page where we have the same class database and the class for display. This is to display all the select queries. And first of all, we have the first query, get books borrowed by member, where we have to enter a form later on. It's only a one entry form to enter the member ID, where we used SQL query to select the book table, the record of the title of this book as book title, and from the loan table we get the date of loan and the date of return. This is the borrowing date and this is the return date. All of this is from the loan table that we called L, and I used inner join to join between the book and the loan table. And this is where it was exactly, where we linked them, these two. And this is the second query where we get authors and book count. I used the select from the author table, used inner join exactly in this. So it's from the author table in the ID author with the book table in the ID author. This is where we made the connection, and then we grouped them by names and we ordered them by the count of how many books they wrote. and it's a descendant order. The third one is to get overdue loans. So here I use the select. I selected what I need from the loan table as L, and I used two inner joins because we need the member. We need two tables. I mean, two tables have to be connected to the third one. So here we have to join the member um, in the loan table M on L, which is loan, by the ID of member. This is the connection needed. And here we inner join the book table with the loan table also using the ID book, where we have to choose the date of return where it's inferior to the date of today using this function getDate. That's all for the third query, and this is the fourth and last one. Get books borrowed by each member. We use select from the loan table, inner join of member on the loan table L. We use the ID member to make the connection between them, and then we group them by the first name and the last name of the member, of course. This is only us just using HTML special chars just like the rest PHP files, so we can use the post method from the forms of the member ID and also call each function for each query. Here we call the get books borrowed by member, get author books and book count, get overdue loans, and get books borrowed by each member. This is the HTML file, HTML code. I just use the form and the HTML special chars to display the list of the three other queries. And that's all for this practical work. Thank you for listening.